2008 Land Rover LR2. Gonna do the engine mounts. Kind of found this kit that was around the same price as 1.5 or 2 of the engine mounts. So I figured I'd do all 3. Start with this guy because he's the one I know is damaged. I can actually rock the engine by hand, and you can see this jumping around when I jump in reverse. So it's got 2 mounting bolts on the bottom, 1 through here. Those are all 15 millimeters. There's some kind of heat shield or something on top. So I'll figure that out when I get to it. Hopefully the whole assembly pulls out all at once. And I already checked using this beam style torque wrench because I don't have torque specs. All 3 of the bolts are around 60 foot-pounds. All right, get the 15 millimeter on there. And I'm using a 1/2 inch wrench because it's pretty much higher torque. I'm going to just stand these up a little differently so I can remember where they came from. This bolt has some considerable corrosion. So you can see they're different style bolts. The 2 that come from the bottom have a bullet nose tip. That's usually, from what I've seen, for the assembly plant, so they can be misaligned a little bit, and that'll help steer it in. This one has less of a self-centering tip, but it'll go in very quickly as long as it's aligned. And they are different heights. So the shortest bolt goes foremost in the vehicle. The medium one goes aft, and those are the 2 bullet nose. And then I forgot the other style, but it goes on top. Let's see if this comes out. Through the top. And if I gotta grab a hammer. Or a prying tool. Oh, that power steering line's in the way. So I'm going to have to take this one out as well. mount. So as you can see, this mount is junk. It's broken down here for sure. I'm gonna get these off with a Torx bit, or yeah, and then I'll transfer them to the new mount. All right, so those were some really short bolts. It was a T30 Torx. They were about hand tight, so I'm not going to worry about Torx specs. And here are the old and new mounts next to each other. You can see this old one. It's separated here and here. And the new one is pretty solid. Some good elastomer. So we'll come back and move the shield over and then secure it to the vehicle. All right, something really interesting here is that these holes are not threaded. So I'm gonna have to use the bolt to thread them, or I'll pull out my tap and die set and go from there. All right, so I loosely resecured the 3 bolts. What's interesting is on the back side of this guy is another similar bracket which has a nut pocket. So you have to reach around and lift that as you insert this bolt. So I have them all loose because I don't want to have any winked holes, and this will help get them put in easier. These are getting a little tight. For this tool, it's difficult. Alright, these are all snug by hand. Going around with my torque wrench. Again, it looked like they're around 60 foot-pounds on the beam style. So, got the wrench set there. These I'll check again, just on the bottom too, just in case it slipped a little bit as it was tightening down. All right, so that's it for the lower engine mount. All right, so for the next 2 mounts, they're both here. Take the engine cover off. And then I'll have to check what size bolts these are, but we'll have to take these out And these two guys, these are 15 millimeters. Gonna use the box end for that. And this was 18 millimeter. So 18 and two 15s. So I'll loosen those up again with the beam style torque wrench. See roughly what kind of torque it looks like. I might get a crow's foot on that one to measure that one and go from there. All right, so it turns out this is a nut pocket that's welded onto this bracket. Do not try to remove it. You can see that I did. What you got to do is take this 10 millimeter bolt out and lift vertically to come off of this tab, and then we'll have some room to pull out that mount. All right, so that was around 35 or 40 foot-pounds. Just kind of move this down and over to the side enough so I could fit a ratcheting box end here. You don't have a lot of room, so try to use a ratcheting one if you can. I'll probably have to relocate this shortly, or that bolt's not going to pull out anyway, unless I can get the whole unit out and remove that afterwards. All right, so I'm going to try to take this all out as one piece. It depends on how long some of these bolts are. But on top here, each of these is 15 millimeter. They're all pretty easy to access. I'm not going to focus on that. Here I've got a 3/8 wrench, short socket, you know, a U-joint, whatever, coupling, and then a few extensions. And what you're going to do to get leverage is stand on passenger side fender, lean it up this way, and the joint won't wiggle. It'll lock into there, and you can loosen that one. There's another one down here. If you get the coolant bottle pushed back a little bit, and you just use about, I want to say 9 inches of extensions, you can get that one out. And then the last one I found is way back here, and I'm using the same extension arrangement to get to it. You can't see it, but it's straight down through here. So I'll take all those out. All right, I forgot to show I did relocate power steering reservoir just to get it out of the way. And now all these bolts, or the one nut, are loose. So let's see. These three are all identical in length and style. This one in the back here is a nut. Let's see if we can get this out. All right. Just see what we got here. I'll wipe that down and clean it if I can. I put these bolts back where I pulled them out from. So once I take this one out, I can access this bolt. It goes on top here, and then I can reassemble everything. All right, cleaned up some of the sheet metal and some of that valve cover and a little bit of the engine bracket. So now I'll reassemble it and drop it back in. All right, I got that piece back together, torqued it down to about 40 foot-pounds. I'll do these to about 35 or 40 foot-pounds as well. One thing to note for the dog bone style one, this round hole, you do that first, then you secure this oblong hole. Same thing for this portion of the mount. You're gonna do that round hole first, then the slot, and then this large diameter one. Right, and those are engineered that way so that you can install them without having winged holes. These guys all seem to be, oh, this is a drain hole. These four over here are all about the same diameter. None of them are slots, and none of them are larger. So those must be more precision machined than the others. All right, I got them all installed. Torqued them all down to 40 foot-pounds. Secured that tab right here and put that bolt back in. Looking at the other two old mounts, This one's not really torn up. Still had some life in it. This one's not having an issue at the top there, and I heard these leak out of here as well. But I did feel the new mount, and it's a little bit stiffer than this one. I don't know. All right, so I got the skid plate back on and the engine cover, and take this thing for a ride.